Atomic Drop Podcast one-on-one. Tonight's great special guest is none other than former ARW ring announcer and now manager for Vertigo the Cure Rivera, Albert A.C. Smooth. Let's get on with the show. That is right. The Atomic Drop Podcast one-on-one is back. It is the voice, Gregg Allen, as you can see down below. And if you look over that way, you will see my very special guest tonight. He is none other than Albert A.C. Smooth. He is the former ring announcer for ARW. He is currently the manager for the current ARW Hardcore Champion, Vertigo the Cure Rivera. Albert, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be my guest tonight.
Thank you for having me. First and foremost, that was one hell of an introduction. I appreciate it. All of the kind words. And yeah, man, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, man. We actually you may or may not remember, but we actually said, hopefully one day we could do a one-on-one interview on the first day of ARW when we spoke about what you were doing on the show and things of that nature and how you had your own show.
Yep.
I asked you that day. I said, hopefully one day we'll get a one-on-one. Who knows?
Here it is.
And now here we are.
Well, here on the Atomic Drop Podcast one-on-one, we like to be casual. I'm just going to ask you some questions. You answer them, talk about what you want. So the first thing I like to ask on one-on-one is, when did you first get the wrestling bug? When did that bug bite you?
It was in 1996 when I went to In Your House Mind Games, where the main event was Shawn Michaels versus Mankind in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My uncle bought me wrestling tickets. I had seen it before, and I was a casual fan at that point, kind of just watching it on TV, and it was really out of this world to see. And then we were like third or fourth row at the event. And when you're live, there is absolutely nothing on this planet like it. And that's the day that the bug bit me, back in 1996 at that In Your House Mind Game show.
I do remember that pay-per-view and that main event. That was definitely the Attitude Era. Now, what I'd like to ask you now is, what are some, we talk about wrestling a lot, and here on one-on-one, I like to kind of get into the core of a person. What were some other things and other interests that you, loved or, kind of latched onto over these many years?
So the answer may surprise a whole lot of people, and it's mainly because I don't share this with everyone. And I've kept this pretty much on the low for a very, very long time. But when I first started I was doing like radio on AM, but it was basically a wrestling radio talk show that we spoke about a long time ago called the VOC Nation. Mm-hmm. And with the VOC Nation, it actually introduced me into a world of, and I giggle only because I know people judge the minute I say it, but it introduced me to the world of adult entertainment in the sense of conventions. And they're just conventions. People aren't doing anything that crazy at these shows, right. But we went to a convention, and I was introduced to a couple of the girls there. We did interviews and things of that nature. Lo and behold, I became really good friends with one of the girls. And yes, I mean friends. I don't mean Netflix and chill friends. I'm talking like legitimate, like she's my sister type friends. And she got me a gig where I would go to the conventions and just talk to people and get paid a ridiculous amount of money to do it for like a weekend. And we do these all over the US. And I've literally been all over the United States because of that industry. And it was just on the microphone, talking to people, just literally greeting them, saying, what's up? What are you guys looking to do? You guys having a good time? Paid ridiculous money to do it. They paid for my travel, my hotel, everything.
Nice.
And I did that for a solid 5 or 6 years, saved up some good money. And in the meantime, had those shoot jobs, working at a bank, or I'll age myself. I was a manager at Blockbusters one time, long time ago in Philadelphia,
really
Pennsylvania.
Yourself.
Whatever, dude. I was like a young manager. Okay. It wasn't like I didn't start at a manager's age. I was a little young to be a manager. So
I don't think Blockbuster cared at the time, though.
Not even a little bit. It was towards the end of their days, man. They were literally giving out titles like it was just free lunch. It was
That's
cool
about
though
the
'cause
time they were going bankrupt.
it was the end of the show. Like the last 2 years they were in existence in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I was their store manager, and it was so much fun because nobody cared about anything. When you know it's going under, nothing
Nothing
matters at that
matters.
point. But we had a really good time, and again, like I said, the convention life really paid for a lot of really cool things for me to do, like cruises and things of that nature. And I know that business is shamed for what it is, and a lot of people don't really understand that being an occupation for anybody. And I understand that. I don't judge. You feel the way you feel. I feel the way I feel. I see it as an occupation. If you knew a lot of the background stories for a lot of those girls, you would kind of see what choices they had in life, and the choices that they made were way better than what they could have been in a lot of those situations. But again, like I said, people listening that are judging me for that will could care less what the explanation is, could care less where the journey went. Fact of the matter is that that was a part of my life for a solid 6 years, and it allowed me to do so many incredible things with my family. Being able to take them on cruises, being able to just go away on vacation, not having to worry about bills every month,
Yep.
like 99% of us, and myself included now because I haven't been there in a long time. So I can safely tell you guys that I retired from that almost 2 years ago now, and I'm just sticking to my core job now, which is at a call center for the mouse, and professional wrestling is my hobby, my love, and my passion.
A call center for the mouse. I can
Yeah,
understand about what working in a call center is stressful enough, but all right. So
he's
let's
strict,
let's
boy.
fast
He's a
forward
strict
because
boss.
you and I have talked a lot, even before I officially joined Atomic as a member of the family. I showed up and helped out here and there, brought my radio station in, and we had talked, and I believe at that time or shortly before that, you were involved with Impact Wrestling. This
Yes,
was when they
yes,
were in
yes.
Orlando at Universal Studios.
And
What
if you
was
want to
that
start that
time?
journey, I'd actually like to start the journey before that, and I apologize for interrupting
By
you.
all means, please go.
The only reason is because my journey to Impact only happened because of my previous journey with WWE, which a lot of people don't know about either.
Oh, this is an
Um,
exclusive.
when I was in WWE, it was 2007 to about 2000, I want to say 11 ish. I signed a non-disclosure. I did a lot of things at that time period because I was in situations where I was seeing things that weren't necessarily live and weren't
Right.
necessarily on TV for a little while or whatever the case may be. And I kept that job on the low so much that I never bragged about it. I never told nobody. But I was actually in WWE TV production for 4 years when I lived in New Jersey. And it was basically driving to every show and assisting with whatever they needed. If I had to pick up talent, if I had to pick up supplies, if I had to pick up pieces of the ring, I had to get screws one time because one of the corner buckles had gotten all screwed up and they needed a replacement. They would just kind of give me the money for it and say go, and then come back, and that was the deal. Um, but that job led me into making a lot of really cool friendships. And yes, I'm going to name drop, and I promise it only happened a couple times. But previous to getting to Impact, I became friends with Matt Hardy. And Matt Hardy, honest to God, is not the guy that calls me every weekend. We don't hang out and shoot the shit together and things of that nature. But in all sincerity, he was just one of those guys that was just constantly giving me advice or kind of telling me where to go and where not to go, kind of leading me in a really nice direction where I wouldn't get myself in trouble. Not only that, when he left WWE, we actually remained close, and I would drive him to all the indie shows in the area. I would tell him, tell the promoter, just give you gas money. You give it to me. I'll pick you up at the airport and we ride. Didn't matter where we were going. I would leave from Philly. We'd go up to New York. We'd go up to one time, I think the longest drive I ever did was to Ohio. And it was, I think, 18 and a half hours or something like that.
Wow.
And it's just those moments, though, and those drives that really kind of bond you with somebody. Because you're either going to like somebody after a couple hours or not, especially when you're this far away from each other. You don't really
Exactly.
have too much of a choice. But that also led to Matt kind of putting my name out there and a lot of the other guys starting to trust me. And you would know this by now. And if you don't, I'm going to enlighten all of you and tell you that this is really a fraternity. This is just one of those things where it's a brotherhood, it's a family. It's if you're in the good graces of one, you're pretty much good because really we're all one and the same essentially. We're all in this circus life, and it's absolutely a love and a privilege. But with Matt Hardy going to the Indies and then to Impact, I actually moved to Florida as Impact was kind of really getting hot here in Orlando, and I made a couple phone calls. I sent a couple text messages, and lo and behold, they said, "Yeah, we could use you with audience roundup, VIP meet and greets, all that kind of fun stuff." And that's what kind of led me here to Florida, or opened the doors up for me here in Florida, because at the time with WWE was in New Jersey. And then when I moved down here, the doors opened up at Impact. And honest to God, were probably the most fun years I've had. Now I can't compare it to WWE only because they're two different monsters, man. They're
Right.
two different entities. One's a machine, the other one's a different machine. That's all there is to it, you know. But I can tell you, as far as having fun, I was able to interact with people way more at Impact than I ever did at WWE because I was backstage doing TV stuff. So being able to interact with the people, I would have to give the more fun job to be Impact, because I was literally interacting with every fan that would come through to Impact, almost every fan, because I was at the front door and I was at the VIP meet and greet, and I was, kind of lining them up to do this, that, and the other. And that's what really was my highlight working with Impact. And of course, the incredible people I got to meet, my boss at the time, so many other talents, like my second and last name drop, I promise, Sean Hernandez, which I think everybody on this planet knows I have a
Yeah.
relationship with, as my brother that I never asked for. He is a complete bully, and honestly, one of the best brothers I could ever ask for in my
Aren't most
entire
brothers
life.
though?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of it. That's the point of the relationship. They have to humble you, and he's really good at it. He's really good at it.
So how long were you at Impact?
I want to say before they went to Canada, I think we were going to be 5 years with Impact, which was a really significantly long time. And again, it wasn't necessarily all year round. It was always like certain chunks and pieces of the year where they would be in Orlando. But that accumulated, I think, to, I want to say 5 years safely. It was at least 5 years with
Yeah,
Impact.
because they started doing on the road shows and house shows and other things where they would only be in Orlando for a specific amount of time, and then
It would be a month.
Right.
It would be, or
And
not
they
a
would
month,
have-
but they would be in for like 2 weeks, like once a month almost.
now the next question, because I know somewhere in between Impact and Atomic, um, how did you get in touch with Alex Red?
Oh, that is a really good question. So it was a show, if I'm not mistaken, for another company. And that company does happen to work in Florida. So out of respect to ARW, I'll leave it as it is. But at this unnamed company, I was actually talking to Alex because I believe he was doing commentary, if I'm not mistaken. And I was ring announcing for the show. And I believe Alex literally came up to me and goes, "Hey, man, would you ever want to ring announce anywhere else or anything like that?" And I was like, "What do you have in mind?" And he told me his idea for Atomic. It wasn't Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling, but I've ingrained that in my head for so long now. I can't remember.
Atomic Wrestling Entertainment.
Entertainment. Yeah. And it's once you engrave something and you know the other one's a boo-boo, you got to get it out of there. So, but anyway, we had spoken briefly about it, and he said, "Yeah, if you're interested, I'd like to have you." And I was like, "Bro, you let me know when and where. I'll be happy to be there." At this point in time, and at that point in time, it's the same. I literally jump at the opportunity to be involved in something I've never done before or a place I've never been. And Alex, the way he was talking about this company, it's the reason why we're still here today.
Yeah.
It's the reason why you and I are having these one-on-ones, and the fact that the shows were sold out for the entire damn year. How many companies were able to do that? And granted,
and the year was COVID.
and also, I understand capacity numbers. I understand that people will jump to that conclusion real quick. The numbers are small. But here's the thing. It's not necessarily that we sold out. It's that we consistently sold out every single show. So even if you want to say the numbers were small as the counterpoint because of capacity, at the same time, we're showing loyalty at the end of the day. Our fan base legitimately came to every single show that ran the entire year. With everything that was happening in life, with COVID, people losing their jobs, doing this, that, and the other, we were blessed. And I haven't been a part of it for that much during COVID, but I had a couple other things going on that we can kind of discuss in a minute. But at the same time, it was just knowing that every show was like watching from a distance and seeing the announcement every time. "Hey guys, only 7 tickets left. Hey guys, 2 tickets left. We told you guys it's sold out." And literally that was every single show. And I'm like, damn it.
Yep.
I want to be there so bad. You guys don't even know how I cringed with excitement, but at the same time, anxiety. Because I mean, granted, and this is my opportunity to say it, you did one hell of a job as a ring announcer. And a part of me is really, truly disappointed that you're sadly stepping away from it. But at the same time, you do some hell of a commentary. So I'm excited about that as well. You literally took the reign and ran with it seamlessly, if I can tell you. The very first show, I may have seen some nerves at the very beginning, but if you look at the very beginning of any of my performances, you'll see the same nerves every damn time.
Let's talk about that. Let's rewind the clock here a little bit. Let's go back to February 11th, 2017. It was Chapter 1, Revolution, and it was over at the Coco Expo.
Yeah.
Wonderful building, a little echoey for my taste, but
really hot.
What was your mental state that day going into the show? This is your, you're working with Alex, you're working with Atomic, he's bringing in Jesse Neal, which I can only assume you had some interaction with Jesse at Impact, or TNA. He's bringing in all these, these guys that you may or may not know. I was actually watching the very first couple of videos that came from that show. What was your mindset going into that show?
So I kind of want to privy this with a little bit of history, sort of. With the ring announcing thing, I actually started in, I want to say 2008 or 2009 as a ring announcer for whatever company would have me. And if they didn't want a ring announcer, I'd be a hype man for the beginning of the show. And I did a lot of things like WrestleCade in North Carolina that saw thousands of people in this small building. And it was just, you literally felt the noise. You didn't hear it. It was just like a hum, but you could feel the noise. So I was really used to kind of going out there and being in front of big crowds, kind of going out there and just being confident in what I do, because it had been years. By the time I got to Alex's front door, it had been a while that I've been ring announcing and just being in front of people. And of course, like I said, with the conventions and things, there's no nerves once I get through the curtain. But before the curtain, before my cue to walk out and to hear that music, I'm not going to lie to anybody. And when this feeling goes away, I'll stop doing it. But before I go out that curtain, literally seconds before my cue, I could literally pass out from anxiety, from excitement, from the nerves. And it's just knowing that if I go out there and they absolutely make no sound whatsoever, it's the end of the journey. That's it for me. I'm done. If they're not making noise, that means they don't care. And if they don't care, what, you know what I mean? I'm not going to force myself to do anything like that. But every single time when that music hits, especially at ARW before I came out to ring announce, and that crowd made that little sound that they did. And sometimes I coach it out of them with my intro. I do that as a little something for the audio of the video when I put it on my reel. That pop sounds nice.
Yes. Pop sounds great.
But the thing is it's genuine in the sense that when I walk out there, I see smiles on every single face. My friend that I dance with, Daniel, at every single show, Daniel's ready to dance. I know you've seen him do it. He does it at every single show that I've ever come out to.
Yeah, I don't dance, so we didn't dance.
We dance for like a split second at every single show. And we can't do it anymore because I'm wearing a different hat as it is. But those moments and those things I looked forward to. The minute I go out, you forget about everything else. And that's why we have cards, because if I didn't have those cards, I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect to the wrestlers. I could probably name all of them for you right now. But in those moments with the energy and all that stuff, forget about it, dude. You can blank out like this, and it's just, it is what it is. But that feeling that I had on the very first show was, one, I wanted to make Alex excited. I wanted him to go, damn, that guy's good. Because if he did, that means I'm coming back.
Right.
And at that time, we don't have really relationships at that point. So it was just a blind trust that A, I was going to get paid, B, that he was going to treat me right and not treat me like, piece of crap like some other promotions have and do. And it all depends on who's running it. But from that day, I can tell you that I earned and gained so much respect for Alex. And granted, I'm going to maybe pull the curtain back here for a second, and I apologize for doing it in advance, but I just want to show you something, that the first few shows that we did with Alex, there was a lot of complications with payment and things of that nature. And if you've ever been in professional wrestling as an indie worker, as a referee, as a ring announcer, as anything involved in wrestling, the only thing you're looking forward to at the end of the night is that envelope and we go home. And if the envelope's not there, we have problems. And granted, we had problems the first couple shows, but instead of taking those problems, highlighting it, making it a huge issue, doing this, that, and the third, no, he took care of business and he took care of everybody. And it wasn't just talk. It was, hey guys, this messed up, something happened, but here. And that doesn't happen. And that's where I gained that love and respect. Like, okay, this guy's legit. He's not just a guy who's a fan of wrestling, who's just trying to, see his fantasies come to life. This guy is super passionate. He knows what the hell he's doing. And he also knows how to make sure everybody's taken care of, which if you don't respect that, then, find me 4 more promoters that do it.
Yeah,
and I won't
you
say
gotta
a word.
you definitely got to respect Alex for the simple fact that, he does make sure to take care of the talent, the referees, the ring announcer, commentator, audio guys, all the guys in our company are well taken care of. And you are one of the ones. Actually, I think that first show you and I actually talked a little bit, and I told you I was there with my radio show.
Yeah.
And then you told me about, your experience in radio. Now, for the better part of 3 years, with the exception of a couple of shows, you were
3.
always
think
the
it was
ring
3.
announcer, but you are a day one guy.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning of this year, we learned that you were, after 3 years, leaving the company to pursue other things. And of course, here in the United States, that was pre-COVID. And,
Yeah, it was.
and COVID for a lot of us, it messed with our lives. But
Yeah.
can you maybe, I know you can't divulge fully because, there's
you.
disclosure and all of that.
Yeah.
But apparently you left because of some opportunities
Yeah.
that had presented themselves to you that could be, as we would say it, well worth it.
Yes. So there was a lot of things that happened in the past year that included me being on a game show, me being on a cruise ship, and me interacting with a lot of really incredible people, with a lot of, I would say, incredible opportunities if things were to have continued moving forward. With things coming to an absolute and complete stop, I served less than no purpose. With the ball not moving at all, what's the sense of even making that phone call to me? It doesn't even make sense. So there was opportunity to do some things that wouldn't have allowed me to. It would literally be like an on-call thing where I'd have to tell Alex the day before, hey man, I can't be at the show. And I'll tell you one thing, if there's anything about me that Alex can confirm for you, for every show that I missed, he knew way in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it was an emergency, which I don't remember doing to him, but it was way in advance because, again, I respect this game, man. I've been around it so long. Again, something that a lot of people may not know, but I trained to be a professional wrestler for a very short time period in Allentown, Pennsylvania, with one of the greatest trainers who's ever lived. His nickname is Pops, but the world knows him as Alpha the Wild Samoan. The guy that runs WXW, yes, to respect to him. And when I trained with him, first and foremost, I learned that this business, you have to love it to be in it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It doesn't pay well at first. You travel. 9 times out of 10, you're going to pay to wrestle because the hot dog and a handshake's a famous, it's a famous phrase for a reason. And unfortunately, I've gotten a lot of hot dogs and handshakes, and it is what it is. But when you're passionate about it, you don't think about that kind of stuff. You're just in the game, as it were. And it's just, I don't know how to put it into words exactly, but when you love something, you don't think about what comes with it. You just kind of chase it. You just do it. And if it is a 9-hour drive, let's fill up the tanks, $100. We'll sleep in the car to save money on hotel, and we'll stop at a Waffle House to get food. That's what you do. And in doing that, again, you learn a lot of things in the business, but you also learn a lot of respect for the business. And when you see that respect in somebody else, I'm going to kind of bring it back to another note, but when you see that respect, like in Alex, how much he cares for this business and how much he sacrificed for this business, that decision of being a part of the team, I am so happy that I made that call. I am beyond thrilled that I took advantage of that one opportunity, because I could have easily said, nah, man, I'm not interested. It's about an hour for me, because the drive was significant, man. And in my mind, I wasn't getting paid.
Right.
In this business, you assume that, and then every
Right.
once in a while you get surprised. I could have easily said no, and honest to goodness, and I'm not going to be blowing smoke all night, but I have to just acknowledge the fact that Alex got me really more ignited into my passion for professional wrestling in ARW. Being able to ring announce, being able to interact with the boys, and being able to introduce this incredible talent that we have here in Florida.
Yeah, that's one thing I do have to say about Alex, and agree with you that he really does inspire the love of the business. And I loved the business since I was 8 years old, when I first saw Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers, in any match. And I was a huge Shawn Michaels fan, and I've always been a wrestling fan. And when Alex gave me that opportunity to be at that very first show, and to watch these men and women, come in and do such a fantastic job, and to see it up close. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Now, you left in February of 2020.
Yes.
Your last show was chapter 4, the Extreme Torch.
Yep.
Which kind of a bittersweet show for me, because I was thankful to be around for it. 2020, kind of a tough year all the way around. So COVID hits. You had these supposed plans. We can't say what they are. There's disclosure and all of that. But
entertainment. There were plans in entertainment.
They were bigger. They were bigger, better things for AC Smooth. But COVID comes in, slaps you right across his face, and says, "Stop."
Yeah. No, man.
So, and we kept up with you on, Facebook, and I know you left Facebook for a while so you could just mellow out.
You got to.
And regroup.
Good God, you got to detox, man.
Get away from that drama that is Facebook. Me,
Yeah.
I just shut my phone off or turn my computer off and, get into a good movie. We go through the year of 2020, and of course, we did 2 cinematic matches out at Lunatic Lee's compound. And, we did the remainder of our shows this year. And the shock and surprise for everybody was Albert AC Smooth returning to ARW, not to take my job as ring announcer,
Not even a little bit.
to stand beside his friend, the hardcore champion, your brother, Vertigo the Cure Rivera.
Yes, sir.
What was that decision like for you? Was that something where you said, "This is my brother, I got to do this"?
So, yes, but a little bit of a different version of that would be during COVID. Yes, I lost the opportunity for some entertainment things that could have happened. And again, they were never really in cement. So I'm not putting that out there that I was guaranteed this, that, and the third. It was still an opportunity, but one that I couldn't say no to. And unfortunately, that opportunity has been postponed, not necessarily canceled, but postponed due to everything that's happening. So I took the opportunity to do some homework and just kind of study and watch and learn, watch YouTube videos and study wrestling from a different perspective, not necessarily the big times, WWE, AEW, Impact, not necessarily watching the ones that are on TV, but more so the independent ones, the guys that are kind of under the radar. And I noticed a common theme. As you can see, I'm representing my island, even with the thumbprint. It's in my DNA.
Mm-hmm.
As far as our heritage, as far as our legacy goes, we have some names. Don't get me wrong. Carlos Colon, Savio Vega, Pedro Morales. There's so many different brand or factions as well, as far as like Los Boricuas, which again, they have a legacy. And there's a couple Latino factions that kind of fall off after that, like Mexican type factions and things like that, which is cool. The culture was still represented to a degree. But as far as the Puerto Rican culture goes, it stopped with Los Boricuas. It was only one faction, one group of guys that represent my island, my blood, that I could look up to, that I could follow, that made it to a big program. Because again, there's plenty of indie wrestlers that are of my, same nationality and things of that nature and representing Puerto Rico. But on TV, there wasn't anyone coming out with the Puerto Rican flag, to say the least.
Right.
You had Epico and Primo, 2 guys from the island of Puerto Rico. They were introduced from the Caribbean, and then there were matadors wearing bull hats and bullfighting, which that never happens in Puerto Rico. I can tell you firsthand, and if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But as far as I know, we don't do bullfighting in Puerto Rico. Um, but it just wasn't represented, right? And I started watching our company, and I started watching what we do, and I started watching Vertigo stuff. And honest to God, I'll say it now because it needs to be said. He's probably the most underrated indie professional wrestler in Florida. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. You will not meet many other people that have the same passion for this business that Vertigo the Cure Rivera has. Period. If you know somebody that does, bring them to me because I'd love to meet them. But it's going to be practically impossible. This man eats, breathes, sleeps this business. And he's done so many incredible things already with promos on Raw, a match on SmackDown. Like the guy's done a lot of really
Didn't
cool things as well.
didn't Daniel Bryan throw a hot dog at him?
I mean, we were gonna leave that one under the rug. The fact
This
that he
is
got hit with the hot
one-on-one. We
dog.
don't leave anything
But
under the rug.
I just, in the wrestling business, you highlight the good stuff and the bad stuff, you just kind of, let it slide. And it's not even a bad thing. I'm just joking. At that opportunity, millions of us would pay to be a part of that.
That was huge.
I'm not even going to say anything bad about it because, in all sincerity, again, if they called either one of us, we'd be there the next day without thought. But again, as far as the way he was being represented in the company, and no disrespect to our general management team or whatever team you want to call it, as far as our booking team goes, the man wasn't being respected. He wasn't a champion until that night. He wasn't getting those opportunities. And the thing is, he's too proud to ask. The man knows that he's good. He knows that he deserves better. But at the same time, he's not a begging man. He's just going to take whatever opportunity you give him and make the most out of it. No more. I'm going to be making phone calls. I'm going to be signing documents. I'm going to be doing whatever it takes to make sure he's treated as the superstar that he truly is. That hardcore championship, which, by the way, if I can be completely honest with you, this 24/7 crap needs to go. I don't give a damn how you feel about it. Having some knucklehead come chasing after us while we're by the pool trying to lounge. Are you joking? Are you kidding? Jerry something or another, the guy that used to be a referee. What the hell's his name?
Swirls.
Jerry's Swirls,
he
serious.
went
I don't
from
know what
curls
the
to
hell he's
swirls.
calling
I got to
himself
shave
now.
his head once.
I want to talk on Swirls as well because I give him a lot of crap, but at the same time, just out of a little bit of respect, because this is one-on-one and I'm character, not character, whatever you want to call it. At the same time, Jerry Swirls, I actually met him on the very first night that he was going to referee for ARW. And I remember seeing the nerves in his body language, which told me that he cared, which is why immediately I walked over and I tried to, talk him out of it, distract him, make him laugh, do whatever I could. Fast forward so many years later, I would have never guessed that kid would have gotten in the ring and he's doing what he's doing now. Even if it is with cardboard, he's doing things, and at the end of the day, he's just got to learn to do the right things and stay away from the hardcore championship because unfortunately he's going to end up going for a swim every single time.
I was going to say that didn't work out too well for him.
He's going to go for a swim every time because it's just not going to happen, my friend. Again, with respect to the person that Vertigo, the Cure Rivera is, he said it before and I'll say it for him now. If you're willing to challenge him, be prepared to lose, but come with it, man. Come with your best game. He ain't afraid of nobody.
So we're in a new year, 2021. We have Chapter 5, All Out War. I believe I can't remember. The old senile thing hits me all the time. I don't believe a match has been announced for him yet. I know he has one.
I believe, and if you want to double check, you might want to look at Facebook because I believe there was an announcement made.
Yeah, I think so.
But either way, I have a feeling that this may not be.
What's the message to his opponent at All Out War?
So again, it's plain and it's simple. He'll tell you the same thing. It's line him up, and we'll knock him out. You can give him one opponent, you can send him 10 like you did at the last damn show. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, before that bell rang its final time, Vertigo the Cure Rivera was hardcore champion. And there's a lot of people now kind of taking shots at myself. And I just want to jump on this opportunity, if you don't mind, Greg, to address something small because that's how I feel about it. But there's a cause in ARW that's been talking a lot and throwing knives in a direction he shouldn't be throwing knives in. And I think he goes by the name of Freedom. And
Yeah, I have my problems with him.
I this kind of why I wanted to bring it up because he's nothing but a bully, an absolute bully. There's absolutely no other word for it. For someone to have, in my opinion, no cause. In my opinion, there's nothing there but anger and hate. He's never showed any other quality of life. The only thing he's ever done is bringing this monster to ARW, who, again, me and Vertigo have absolutely no fear of whatsoever. And it's no disrespect to that monster because he is. I've seen him wrestle. I've seen him work. Freedom has a monster, but Vertigo doesn't give a damn. It's that simple. If you want to bring the monster over, bring the monster over. But I'm telling you right now, like I said on Facebook, because you want to be a Facebook superstar, Freedom, like I said on Facebook, you're too young yet, my friend. You've been in this business for not long enough, and that monster has absolutely no experience to be stepping up to the champ. But if that's what you want, come on and bring it, and we'll end his career short. We'll just have his legacy be another one added to the win column for Vertigo.
And
whatever you want, my friend.
You speak of Freedom and, of course, Death Row Jethro. This hardcore match coming up also has two other men in it. One that has been an ARW original in the Mama's Boy, Axe Clover, who has been ARW champion. He's been hardcore champion.
I have history with.
You also have history with.
I don't know if you want to cover it, my friend. I apologize to interrupt, but just to give you guys a little background, there was a show that I almost called out on that I made to with the morning of. I was in the hospital with kidney stones. And this is a legit shoot story. This isn't something that we wrote storyline. It's the God's honest truth.
June 13th, 2017.
That morning, I came out the hospital and said, I'm still going to the show. I had a lot of drugs in my system. Probably wasn't the best decision. But, you know, they medicate you really well and you don't feel anything. You feel like Superman. So I got a ride to the show. And during that show, Axe Clover decided to come out and kidney punch me. Like, I'm saying it in laughter only because I imagined, because it had been in the locker room and we had said it on, you know, over the air on the show, that I had kidney stones and, you know, that I was not my 100%. And not only did he hit me in the kidney and I went down after giving him the microphone, but then he had the nerve to kick me while I was down as well.
I remember that.
So as far as history goes, Axe, I didn't forget. And I'll tell you right now, I have a tremendous amount of respect for what you can do because, again, I think you just mentioned another monster in this match. Axe Clover is a machine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, again, just to make it as simple as I can, that hardcore championship means more to Vertigo than it could possibly mean to anyone that's stepping in that ring. Period.
Vertigo worked a long time to get to where he is, and
100%.
The last person in this contest debuted last month from the year 2082 AD. His name is Dr. Dax.
Dr. Dax.
He is a huge man. I mean, he's possibly the hugest man, the biggest man in this match, and that's saying a lot considering that Death Row Jethro, Vertigo and Axe Clover are in this match. It's
something.
You know,
we're gonna have to
what are
that
your
ring?
Yeah, we're gonna have to put some extra support in the ring.
Holy crap!
What are your thoughts on Dr. Dax, or do you not know enough about him yet to make that determination?
You know, with Dr. Dax, number one, I was able to watch his performance at Reindeer Games, and again, I'm not. Here's the thing. I want to clarify something before I even move forward. As far as being a manager and Vertigo being my client and me taking a crap over every audience that we see, no, it's not about that business. I'm not going to be a fan favorite, as it were, but at the same time, I have absolutely nothing but love for that audience. I have absolutely nothing but love for how they supported me through every single thing I've ever done at ARW. But at the same time, there's going to be a couple things that they're not going to like. There's going to be a couple things that they may fall off the bandwagon because they don't agree with how I feel about things. And please, Feel the way you feel. If you like it, support it. If you hate it, walk the other way, or look the other way for that matter. Now, at the same time, I am here to study, and I'm here to make sure that I can give Vertigo every advantage that he could possibly have. Does he need it? Absolutely not. But if I can give him an advantage, I will study every single opponent that he could possibly have. And Dr. Dax is one of them. The problem with him, the thing that makes him so, it makes him a concern, I guess we could say, is the lack of knowledge, is not knowing what he's capable of, except for what I saw at Reindeer Games. And he put on one hell of a performance at Reindeer Games. So the lack of knowledge here, yeah, I'll say it to you. There's no way to do homework on somebody that's from another time frame. It's just impossible.
Right.
It's time traveling. What am I supposed to do? So at the end of the day, I'm going to study every match he has with us, and I guess I'm going to have a nice front row seat to his next performance. But Dr. Dax, I'm going to give you the message now, my friend. You're going to be disappointed just like the other three, or the other two, excuse me. You're going to be disappointed just like those other two men who think they have an opportunity at the Hardcore Championship. Yes, these are going to be four monsters in one ring. But the only monster I believe in, the only one that I truly, in my heart, feel is walking out as champion is Vertigo the Cure Rivera.
Because the cure is sometimes worse than the sickness.
It is always worse than the sickness itself.
With that being said, is there anything else you would like to say? Anything that you're looking forward to in this new year? You know, since you're back with the company for however long you're back with us, and trust me, my inner fanboy, popped inside, but my I wanted to get that scoop and I couldn't get it. Now I'm getting it, which is cool. But what does 2021 hold for Albert AC Smooth?
I do want to touch on that night as well, because I didn't want it to seem as disrespect to you. But at the same time, I know that my return was definitely unexpected. But at the same time, it wasn't about me. As it is now, and as it always will be, it's not about me. The reason we didn't talk on that night, the reason I pushed the microphone away is because that night was about our new champion. As it will be moving forward, our new champion, our reigning champion, our defending hardcore champion. And again, no disrespect to you, my friend. I would have talked to you on any given night, but that night wasn't about me. I know I was a surprise, but at the end of the day, it was about him taking that championship home.
Yeah, definitely no respect taken. I can understand that frame of mind. And Albert, I want to take this time to, of course, thank you for being on Atomic Drop Podcast one-on-one and sharing a little bit of yourself with our audience. And, of course, to wish Vertigo the best of luck at All Out War.
Again, I don't mean to cut you off here, but I did want to answer your question as well. As far as 2021 goes, you can define my entire year of 2021 with one word, and that's wrestling. Because that's exactly what I plan to do for the entire year. It doesn't matter how, doesn't matter who, doesn't matter where. It will be at home at ARW, but wrestling will define Albert AC Smooth for the year 2021. My apologies, but I wanted to make sure you got that answer.
Now, I did want to ask you, I did have one more question, and I almost forgot to ask it. February 19th, of course, is All Out War. It's Chapter 5. It's our 4-year anniversary, which is big for us because nobody said we would last past the first year or even the first shows.
First 3 shows were heavily critiqued.
And of course, we no longer associate with those people. We get negativity out of the way. But February 19th, 2021 marks the end of an era for ARW as we leave our longtime home at the Space Coast Convention Center. Yeah. For me, it's kind of bittersweet. I made my debut in that building when we introduced commentary. How are you feeling? Because you announced some of the biggest matches that we had in ARW history in that building. Yeah. How do you feel about this being our last show at the Space Coast Convention Center?
It's wild. when you start to call a place home, I know that title may be thrown around a lot, and this is our home, and that's our home, and wrestling's our home, and this, that, and the other. But I have a regular parking spot at that building. As crazy as that sounds, because we park in the backyard, we park in a field, but I have a parking spot in that field, and it's just one of those things where driving through that gate, that's where the excitement for me starts. It's always been that way. As soon as I hit the pavement, I'm cool, but as soon as I get through that little white fence, and if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. But that little white fence that we have to go through to get into the back, and that's where the blood starts bubbling, and just the anxiety, the excitement. I'm going to see my brothers. I'm going to see my family. I mean, the reason I've been in this business for so long is because I love the family that I'm surrounded by. It's not necessarily because of the pops or the boos or the cheers and the hate and whatever the case may be when we're out there. And don't get me wrong, that's great. But at the end of the day, it's being able to go in that locker room and saying, "Hey, brother, how you been? Damn, it's good to see you. It's been so long. Please fill me in on what you've been doing." And things of that family feeling is the reason why I keep moving forward. And the reason why I think that building means so much to us, because in that building, we all bonded. We've been there for so long that, again, in an indie locker room, family changes a lot. You know what I mean by that.
Yes.
And there could be a different face at every damn show, to be completely honest with you. But in this building, we've had the same faces for so long. And I'm not just talking about the boys and girls that work. I'm talking about our crew. I'm talking about the guys who help set up the ring. I'm talking about the guys who help set up all of the visuals that you see on our show. All of those people, even the people that make the food, for God's sake, the people in the cafeteria I've gotten to know almost on a first name basis. They know exactly what I'm looking for every time I walk up. It's because it's just, we've been there for so long, and it's bittersweet in the sense that we can't stay in the same place forever, because that means we're not growing, we're not changing, we're not doing things. So to know that we're leaving sucks, but at the same time, to know that we're starting a new journey is, and will forever be, exciting as far as what we do. Anytime there's a change to what we do, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be excited about it. And the only time that I'm not is when you put my champion in a fatal 4-way match. But talk about that another place, another time.
We'll deal with that February 19th. And I can promise everybody out there, you know, I have enjoyed being at the Space Coast Convention Center. It's where I began, you know, being an official part of the ARW family. It's actually where we became known as ARW. Yeah. When we became Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling, we've made history in that building. We've seen James Storm. We've seen Tommy Dreamer. You've got to announce those guys. I've got to announce legends. You know, to me, it's bittersweet, but I can guarantee you, on March 19th, when we are at our new home at the Holiday Inn Melbourne Vieira Conference Center, trust me, the visual will blow the Space Coast Convention Center away. But that is a discussion for another day. I want to thank...
No spoilers.
I want to thank my guest, the one and only Albert A.C. Smooth, for being my guest tonight. Albert, thank you for taking your time.
Look, man,
I appreciate it.
In character, not in character, whatever you want to call it, Albert A.C. Smooth or just Albert. I have seen you as a brother from practically day one. And anytime that you need something, I told you before, and I'll say it again, you just let me know. I believe that you were the absolute greatest replacement for me that anybody could have ever picked. When they told me that you were the one being the ring announcer, I got goosebumps. And I said, damn it, that's a good choice. Like, if I had to pick anybody on the list, I would have picked you. And it just kind of formed a respect. And then I watched you do it, and I watched how much you enjoyed it, which means now we have common ground forever, because you know how much I enjoy ring announcing.
It's like an energy burst when you're nervous behind that curtain, but as soon as you pop that curtain and you hear that switch pop from the crowd, it's a switch flips on, and it's just
you don't remember it until it's over.
I'm like, I blacked out for 3 hours. I'm sorry.
I can give you a perfect example, and I promise I won't make this long, but the time that I got to ring announce Sabu versus Jesse Neal, as an ECW fan growing up, Sabu to me was godlike. He's indestructible. He's not human. It's insane what that man can do with his body and still get up and walk away like a Jeff Hardy or any of the other guys. Oh my God, he's still doing it and not even holding back. But at the same time, in that moment when I was ring announcing Sabu, it's just, you're not there, but you're there. Like I know what I have to do, and my body's responding to what needs to be done, but my mind isn't there in that moment until I leave the ring and I go, "Oh my god, I just ring announced the legend Sabu versus Jesse freaking Neal in the same match."
At
Like
and at the same time that you're ring announcing, I'm sitting on commentary with one of the biggest ECW fans of all time, and we're calling this ultra intense match, which I believe somewhere in that match I called. I believe I said, "Can we call Sabu the chairman of ARW?" Because I got to say there was an insane amount of chairs used in that match.
it was brutal. It was brutal and violent and exactly what we all anticipated. It was just a dream match. It was amazing, and it's honestly, I know we're kind of coming to the end of this journey here, but I do want to say first and foremost, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be the ring announcer for ARW. I don't know if you had a part in it. You may have, you may not. I know for sure Alex had to make the decision at the end of the day, and I'm grateful for it because I know you could have deflected it. Anybody could have really just said, "Nah, we don't know that guy." You know what I mean? But not only that, you've also come to me for advice and things like that. And I can't tell you how humbling that is for me. I don't see myself as anybody, period. At the end of the day, I'm just a guy who loves to entertain and hopefully put a smile on your face. But that's all I see myself as. If I was on TV every night, I'd still see myself as the same way. Yeah. So just the amount of love and respect that I have, not only for the ARW family, but for everything that I've been through with this company. This is why I will always and forever call it home. Forever. It will be my home.
Well, welcome home. You do Twitch. If you'd like to, go ahead and give that information out. This will air on YouTube.
So here's the thing, and I'm going to give the information out. But your boy, Albert AC Smooth, is still in the process of growing his Twitch studio, as it were. I got the screen, I got the lights, I got this nice little microphone here, but I still haven't gotten a lot of things that'll translate from my game system to my system.
He needs an IT guy.
If you want to hit up my my inbox, let me know. But it will be Albert AC Smooth, as everything pretty much is. It's twitchtv.com/Albert AC Smooth. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, it's AC_smooth_. But again, I'm not here to do anything but really put people over. At the end of the day, that's what I want to do. That's my passion. If I can make you smile, it's the icing on the cake. But if I can make someone else look at their very best, that's the point and purpose that I will serve in professional wrestling, period.
With that being said, we bring this episode of the Atomic Drop Podcast one-on-one to a close. Again, my guest on that side of me is Albert AC Smooth, or Albert, as family calls him. And I do consider him like a brother. We've talked a lot over the last couple of years. And again, thank you for joining me. And we will have you on a future episode of the Atomic Drop Podcast 101. Everybody, I want to thank you for joining me. We'll see you on the next episode.
Good night.